Every episode, Cynthia gives me a new reason to be confused. One minute he's talking about how special Melanie is and she's in the back of his mind. Next thing you know, he's kissing on Amora. At this point, I don't know if he's confused, delusional, or just enjoying himself a little too much. And can somebody please give this man a dictionary or a thesaurus because he don't know words, okay? Now, Trinity, girl, what are you doing? Wipe your face and girl, stop.
Kay Unscripted, no teeth restricted. In this journey, watch our stories unfold.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. This is Kay Unscripted. I am your girl Kay, and today we're breaking down Love Island USA Season 8, Episode 19. But before we get into this one, I just want to take a minute again to just say thank you to the new subscribers. But if you're here for the first time and you haven't yet subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Alright, y'all, now let's talk about this episode. So things pick up with Kenzie talking to Dylan. They're talking about how they refer to their grandparents, right? But Kenzie cannot have one conversation without it being sexual, because how do you go from talking about grandparents to naming your boobs sugar and spice? And then you're going to be in your feelings when they call you lustful, okay? She says in her confessional that Dylan is what she has been waiting for. He's goofy and she loves his energy. Now, have we heard that before? Absolutely. Anyways, Dylan says that he's at a place in his life where he knows what he wants to do as a career. He knows what he's looking for and he's just ready to add someone to that equation. So he starts complimenting her eyes and then they end up kissing and she's like, I want the jackpot. I want the jackpot. Because he's a good kisser. And I said, boo-hoo, Kenzie. Anyways, she asked him to share a bed with her and he accepts. Now over at Casa, Corbin's talking to Palmida. He's telling her that she's the one who caught his eye, but he was letting her have her little moment with Caleb. She then says that Caleb gives her husband vibes. Palmida also says that apparently she and Corbin follow each other on Instagram and they had a short conversation about working out together, but that's as far as the conversation went. So it kind of jogged his memory on that conversation happening. So they talk about working out. She flexes her muscles or whatever. But they do look nice together. I'm not even going to lie. As much as I'm not a fan of Corbin, they do look really good together. Anyways, they end up kissing and they were trying to hide it but made it very obvious because everyone saw them. So we move on to Casey, who has a chat with Sydney. And Casey says the best part about Casa so far is having different women. I said, okay. He loves the women's, okay? He loves the women's. He said different women bring out different sides of you. And I said, okay, the boy is having the time of his life, okay? He then asked her what she wants. She said she needs a man, okay? She needs her a man. She also explains that her type is sexy, tall, muscular, and good shape. Now, Casey said he's pretty laid back, and then she asked if he's dominant in the bedroom. Baby, that wine almost went the wrong place when she asked him that question. It seemed like he wasn't really expecting that, but he says he likes to be in charge of everything. Okay, now I cannot tell if maybe Casey is not very much experienced when it comes to those things, even dating, because that's what it was giving, right? And so she's asking him for details on what he likes to do in the bedroom. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but he doesn't look too comfortable talking about these things. And I get it, okay? Because, you know, my generation, we don't really talk about sex stuff like that. But I don't know, I find this new generation, they talk about it a lot, especially the girls on this season. They're very open about talking about sex, okay? And just to be clear, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I kind of pick up that Casey is probably very much old school. Or he's probably not that experienced, okay? Anyways, he asks how she feels about exploring everyone. And she said she's okay with it. In fact, she said a little taste of everyone. I said, not a taste of everyone, Sydney. Please, please, please go. What is that? So anyways, he does mention Anaya and that for now he wants to keep exploring, and then asked for her to share a bed with him, and she agreed. Now that's going to be funny because he did share a bed with Titi the night before, and so he's switching beds, and that's going to be a sticky situation. He said in his confessional that he feels like he can talk to Sydney about anything and it doesn't really feel forced. It's easy to relate and connect with her. So, back at the villa, Jen and Gal have a chat on the dock. Gal looks way, way older than he actually is. Is it me or do y'all see it? I don't know. I think it was a mixture of the shirt, the mustache, and I don't know, I guess his face just gives he's an older guy. But anyways, Jen asks him why he's still single, and he says that he's looking for someone he's obsessed with. Jen said that obsession can be dangerous, but she likes to be obsessed too. And I said, girl, do you hear yourself? Are you okay? What's up with people wanting and needing to be obsessed? What is that? Is this a new thing? Please let me know. Anyways, she said she's never cooked for a man, but she likes to cook and she's good at making steak, pasta, or salad. And I just love me some pasta, okay? And I love a good steak too, but pasta is definitely my thing, okay? Now, she says in her confessional that Gal is her type and that he's so sexy. She loves it. Good for her. She does ask him to share a bed with her and he agrees, okay? Melanie has a chat in Soul Ties with Ronnie. So they talk about how she was going through it and sleeping in Soul Ties. We then zoom over to Casa and Cynthia is talking to Amora, and he said he likes sharing a bed with her. He compliments her dress, says he loves that color on her. Cynthia then says that exploring and being open is part of the experience. And so she's like, well, you are putting yourself and your needs first, and how he makes her feel like home. And I said, girl, are you for real? Or you're just trying to make sure you get into that villa? Because I don't know, I don't see too much of a connection with y'all. But that's what she's saying, okay? But I'm going to tell you early that Cynthia is not bringing you back. He's not, okay? He's using you the same way you saw him and we saw him treat Saul. He's going to do the same to you. So he talks about how he journals to help him talk about the way he feels. She's saying she looks for someone who's inquisitive and wants to learn more, and lets him know that she's just so grateful to have met him and that they're having this conversation. So we get back to Melanie and Ronnie's conversation in the villa. He says that his longest relationship was 1 year and 3 months. And he's ready to be in love because he thinks love is one of the purest things we have in this world. Now, Melanie and Ronnie don't have too much of a deep conversation. It was more so some flirting or whatever. And he invites himself to sleep in her bed, okay? Now, we get back to Cynthia and Amora's chat in Casa. And the girl saw a butterfly. She said she saw a butterfly. They didn't show us the butterfly, but she saw a butterfly, right? And she's going to open her mouth and say, oh, God gave her a sign. Next thing you know, they're kissing. I said, girl, why are you bringing God into this? God is like, why am I in this? Okay? Please, don't do that, okay? And Cynthia, I thought you said you didn't want to kiss any more girls because you were missing Melanie. Did I miss something? Didn't he say that, y'all? Please let me know. Anyways, he said in his confessional that Amora is a beautiful girl and she's everything he wants in a girl. And did he just say that Casa is the what? How did he say it? He said it's the epitome of testing connections. And I said, what? Oh my goodness. I said, what the hell is epitome? Does he mean... Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Does he mean epitome? And he said epitome. Oh my goodness, Sincere. Oh my God. Yeah, let's move on. Now, Palmida is talking to Corbin about her tattoos and she's sitting right in Caleb's face. And I said, Why? And the girl is all over Caleb. What is happening? Okay, because he was with Parmida the night before, whatever. But he looked so uncomfortable, and she was taking pictures with Corbin, sitting right next to him. And next thing you know, he's telling Corbin, we're in yet another love triangle. And he's like, not again. I'm not about to put myself through this again. And I said, period, Caleb, go explore, right? Now, Casey talks to Titi and he's asking her if she hasn't pulled anyone else for a chat. She said, no, because I know what I want. So he tells her that she shouldn't limit herself and then asks how she feels about sleeping with another person, right? And mentions wanting to share a bed with Sydney. So Titi asks him if he has a stronger connection with Sydney, and he said, girl, I don't know. That's what I'm trying to see. Baby Titi looked mad as hell, and she said, do you? Okay, do whatever you want. I don't give a damn. Okay. And I said, Titi, not too much. Okay, you've only been here for a couple of hours, please. So then Titi said, why are we arguing? I said, oh, she's crazy. Casey, she's crazy. Watch yourself. He said, we're not arguing. And then she's like, you know what? Do what you want. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. Do you? Okay? It's noted. I'm not mad, but it's noted, is what she said. Okay? Now, this is what Casey keeps experiencing with these women, right? He is supposed to explore. He's supposed to see who he has a connection with. He's being open. He's being transparent. But the moment he starts doing that, these women get in their feelings and try to make him feel guilty for wanting to explore and switch up on him. And that's just not okay. Because every time that happens, he kind of goes into like a snail. He goes into his shell, right? He goes into his shell because he doesn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. But the guy does have a right to explore and to see who he connects with the most. I know some people don't really agree with that point of view, but that's just how I see it. Okay, now back at the villa, Trinity, Kada, and Jen catch up. She's telling them that Gal is her type. Then Kada shares that she is a whole package, but they haven't kissed because she's scared, thinking that maybe Zach is probably kissing or not kissing on girls, right? I'm like, girl, Kada, he is kissing on girls. And guess what? He's kissing on a girl that dated his brother and made out with his brother, okay? So Trinity tells her that she feels like because they went to the hideaway, Zach cherishes that, and so he wouldn't give up on their connection. Trinity then spills all the tea about Corey, and the girls were ecstatic for her, right? But she says in her confessional that her chat with Corey was really good, but she said it's hard for her because of those feelings she has for Bryce. So anyways, all of the islanders head to bed, both in the villa and Casa, and Parmida and Corbin were heavy on the makeout sesh. So we get to the next morning and breakfast gets made in both of the villas, right? Casey, Sincere, and Zach in Casa, they talk, and Casey says that he's more attracted to TT because he kind of gets friendship vibes from Sydney, right? Zach said that while he was kissing Alana, Kida was on his mind. Honestly, I don't really believe those guys when they say that. They're just saying, honestly, I just feel like they're just saying it. I don't believe them. But anyways, back at the villa, Melanie talks to Corey. He tells her that she was at the top of his list and he really likes the way she carries herself. He likes the way that she thinks and moves, right? He also tells her that he thinks it's only a certain type of man that can handle her. Now, I don't know. I was watching Corey and the whole time I was just focused on his teeth. He has some really big teeth. I'm sorry, y'all. It just kept distracting me. I'm so sorry. Anyways, in so many words, he lets her know that Sincere is not the guy for her, right? Now, Shay and Kada talk. He's admiring her eyes. She then asks him if he wants a relationship. He said he's not here to blow up or anything that comes with the show because he doesn't have social media. She was shocked. She was so shocked, right? She's like, oh, I like you so much more now, okay? Now, I love a man who's not on social media. It's not a strange thing. There are just some people, both men and women, there are some people who are just not into social media like that. I have one. Mine is not into social media, and I'm happy, okay? We're happy, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Anyways, she tells Akeda that he does like he would like to pursue her and get to know her more. She says that she's open to it, but she didn't kiss him. He did ask her, but she said she would like to have more chats with him. And he respected it, and he said he's willing to wait. Now Casey and Titi at Casa, they're talking, and she's like, you think I'm crazy, right? You think I'm crazy? Yes, girl, he does. He thinks you're crazy. But I'm glad she apologized immediately for her behavior, because, girl, you did too much, okay? That man has every right to explore whomever he wants. So she said that she was trying to keep her emotions together, but it came out. But they both ended up saying that they like each other. And truth be told, I do like to see Casey and Titi together. I like it. I like it. I'm feeling it. I'm digging it. Okay. Now back at the villa, the girlies link up, right? It's Melanie, Anaya, and Trinity. So they're just spilling the tea on what's happening with each of them. Trinity says that Corey does check all of the boxes for her, but she doesn't feel a connection with him. And even if she has some kind of connection with the guys in the villa, that's not who she wants. And I was rolling my eyes at Trinity so much. I'm sorry, y'all. I am just not sold on this deep connection that she and Bryce have. I am not sold on it. I think she may like him a lot, but I don't think he is into her that much. Anyways, she tells Mel that Corey would be a better match for her, and she said she does see it, right? But Melanie says that she's really scared, and she would be so heartbroken if Cynthia did her dirty again. And I said, prepare yourself, okay? Because he's doing a lot. Trinity then says that she feels like it would be wrong of her to bring someone back when her heart is not in it. She then opens up about her fear of being a woman of color dating someone outside of her race, and how that person can switch up to their preference over her as a woman of color. And this is a real issue, I guess, that exists. I wouldn't know, because I live in a predominantly colored place, right? It's a lot of black people here. There are a few white people and Asians, but it's mainly black people. I've never dated out of my race, so I don't know what that feels like. But I could understand, because we live in a world now where racism is still very much an issue that needs to be addressed in 2026, right? We would think, in 2026 we wouldn't have to be dealing with that, but guess what? It's an issue. So she starts crying in her confessional. She wonders what Bryce is doing, and if he's doing a lot with the other girls or whatever. And like I said before, the only reason why Bryce isn't doing too much is because none of the girls in there are really checking for him like that, okay? But I was just like, Trinity, please don't piss me off, girl, stop. Anyways, Caleb and Jaden have a chat, and they're getting to know each other. He seems very smitten with Jaden, and they're vibing. They share a kiss, and I hope that's the beginning of Caleb's love story. He does deserve that. He's a really sweet guy, right? So we get to later on in the evening, and did we just hear Casey saying that he has nothing in common with Anaya? I said, oh, Casey, you're definitely bringing Titi back into the villa. I don't know. Casey and Corbin talk, right? Casey's saying that he connects more with Titi, and then Corbin is saying that if Parmida was there when he came into the villa, he would have picked her over Kenzie, right? Casey said that Titi pursued him, and I think that's the thing that's messed with Casey's mind, that Anaya never chose him to begin with. They were a default couple, right, in the beginning, and then throughout that time he has had to do a lot of reassuring to Anaya, and it's just been too much for him. They've always been going through this little cycle where she get upset because he wants to explore and all of that, and I guess he's probably just tired of having to deal with that. Okay, he said he doesn't have to beg for a kiss or none of that. And I mean, I understand, because like I said in one of my videos earlier, I didn't think he was asking for a lot of Anaya. He just wants to feel like she desires him, that she wants him. He wants to feel wanted, and that is what was lacking in their connection. So Kenzie and Caleb get a text, or Corbin, sorry, Kenzie and Corbin get a text that says that the Villa and Casa will be going head to head in a game called Temperature Rising. And here's how the game is about to go down. The Islanders in the Villa will go head to head with their previous couple, who's now at Casa. They will then choose an Islander to compete with. The girls will select a category and then do whatever it says, and both Islanders in the Villa and in Casa will be able to tell each other's temperature by the thermometer on how hot it is. That will determine who wins that round, right? So first up is Melanie versus Sincere. Melanie chose Corey, Sincere chose Amora. The category was leak, and the Villa won that one, right? Up next was Kata versus Zach. She chose Shay, Zach chose Alana. The category was kiss, and the Villa also won that round. Up next was Jen and Gal versus Caleb and Jaden. Their category was tickle. The Villa also won that one. Next is Anaya and Carl versus Casey and Tierra. Their category was dance, and Casa won that one. Casey came with all of the moves, okay? Next up was Trinity and Ronnie versus Bryce and Sydney. Their category was suck, and Casa won that one. Then it's Kenzie and Dylan versus Corbin and Palmida. Their category was nibble, and Casa also won that round. Now another text comes in and says that it's a tie. So there's one last category, and it's called freestyle, and I'm not even going to hold back. It was definitely giving orgy. It was a lot. But the Villa won that category because the girls were kissing on each other. It was a lot. A lot was happening, okay? So after the game, Corey talks to Trinity and she lets him know that she does like what they have, but her heart is not in it 100%. She doesn't want to lead him on, okay? He said he appreciates the honesty from her. She then tells him that she thinks he and Melanie can be a thing and encourages them to explore that, right? So Corey then pulls Melanie for a chat. They talk about the challenge and how they enjoyed it. He then lets her know that he's interested in her and does want to build a connection with her, right? She says that she likes how dominant he is and that he is her number one, right? He then says, no, he asks her if he was in the Villa past Casa, would she be open to exploring that connection? And she says yes. I don't know if I believe her just yet, but that's what she said. And she also does ask him to share a bed, and he agreed, right? Meanwhile, Cynthia's with Amora, saying that they've gotten so much closer, and he likes that she's a great listener and that she picks up on little things. I don't know, y'all. The more I listen to Cynthia speak, he comes off like he's trying really hard to sound intelligent. And that is why he's been misquoting quotes, mispronouncing words, using the wrong words in the wrong context, and all of that. He's doing too much. Also, I feel like he's doing the same thing that he did to Saul, to Amora, except that Melanie's not around. Okay? Now, back in the Villa, Corey tells Melanie that there's a lot of things she didn't see with Sincere, and she said, you're not the only person who's told me that. And I felt so bad for her. She was really sad in her confessional because she knows that Sincere hasn't been honest with her. Corey then tells Melanie that there's better for her and he could be that because she deserves it, and he just wants the opportunity to see where this can lead to. Meanwhile, Amora is thinking that Cynthia is so into her, and now they're kissing again. And I think this is the third or the fourth time they're kissing. Remember earlier he said that he was thinking about Mel. I guess he's not thinking about her anymore. And emerging, like he said, because he said he was emerging into the experience. Okay, when I think he wanted to say immersing, but he said emerging. Now I need to hear from you all because this is where the episode ends. Is Melanie finally waking up to who Sincere really is? Do you think Corey is genuinely interested in her, or is he just saying everything she needs to hear? And be honest, do you think Sincere is going to bring Amora back, or will he go back to Melanie? I need to hear your thoughts on this episode, so don't forget to share all of your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.